Hello, I'm trying to analyze the horoscope of Narender Modi. Now, the horoscope of Narender Modi with the time and the date of birth which I'm taking the date of birth as 17th September 1950 and he was born on a Sunday. I hope that this is accurate. If he is born on 17th September 1950, that is important. The time which we have understood from various sources, apparently 10:37 seems to be accurate, but let us assume it is not accurate, but taking the time as 10:37, and the city which he is born is Vadnagar. The method I'm trying to analyze this horoscope is on the basis of the Bhrigu Nadi system, which I practice, and on the basis of our understanding that he is a man where he is and what would be the future if it comes to that. Now here, if you see in his horoscope in Scorpio, that is the sign of Scorpio, it has Moon and Mars. Now, general characteristics of Scorpio having Moon and Mars, it shows a person goes deep. His understanding is very deep. He understands the psychology of the people. His aggression is not so much external, but internally a very aggressive person who plans, who understands the secretiveness of various things. He is like a person who is like a surgeon. Moon and Mars in Scorpio, mostly people when they are in planets which are in Scorpio are very good for a doctor. But here he is not a doctor, but his whole thought process is like a doctor or a surgeon, where he goes deep and analyzes. Incidentally, a very important thing in his horoscope is he has Sun, Mercury and Ketu in Virgo. Now Virgo is another sign of research, going into deep depth, and when there are so many planets in Virgo and Scorpio, he is like a person who is a analyst, a psychoanalyst, who goes deep, who does research, who does a lot of understanding, and is a person who plans a lot with literally 5 planets shared between Virgo and Scorpio. These are 2 houses which shows tell his personality the way he is, and we understand he is a planner, he goes deep, he's an aggressive personality, he understands the enemies very well, he can strike secretively, he can plan very well. He's a person who counts on his own planning, on his own assessment of things. So that is what my assessment of Moon and Mars in Scorpio and Sun, Mercury and Ketu in Virgo. Then he has Venus and Saturn in the 5th house. Not in the 5th house, it is in Leo. Leo is the seat of power, it is the seat of politics. It in the whole system, the planet, the Leo planet actually talks about politics, seat of power, being a politician, and it has Jupiter aspected. Venus and Saturn is aspected by Jupiter, which again which also proves the fact that he is where he is. He's been the chief minister, he is today the prime ministerial candidate. So this combination, I assume it is absolutely right, where he has Venus and Saturn in Leo aspected from Jupiter, the sign of Aquarius. Now Jupiter in Aquarius has other kinds of issues, not in the professional front, but perhaps maybe that he's a bachelor still, etc. Jupiter in Aquarius aspected the other way around by Venus and Saturn does its kind of issues. So this is a combination which I presume in this horoscope is right. Venus and Saturn is aspected by Jupiter, and he has Rahu in Pisces, which is again a place where a Rahu is there, but is in a sign of Jupiter. A sign where a Rahu becomes a planner, a thinker, a person who can understand, who can actually go beyond things. So at one level he would be also interested in the superconscious, in understanding what is happening in the world, a thinker of the future. Makes a person think. Rahu doesn't lose its inert capability of thinking out of the box, of being a person who thinks big, foreigner, etc. It doesn't lose. But in Pisces, those things become very positive, and he starts thinking of what could be the future of how should he plan it, what should he do in the next 15-20 years, what is it to be done beyond what is seen. So that is what Rahu gives, and Rahu in Pisces is actually very good. Between Rahu Ketu axis, that is Sun and Mercury. So that again on the personal front, Sun is father and other things. It would have it points to all that, but we are not going into all that. We are at the moment seeing into what would be his political career and what is in store with him for the next, let's say the elections happen in May, and something between May to July, what it is. So Sun and Mercury with Ketu again makes you a person who is a man of details, who knows how to divide, who knows how to do things by talking, and Ketu has got the highest degree, Sun having the lowest degree. It also is a place where it shows a Dhwaj. It depicts Ketu when of the highest degree and Sun with the lowest degree. It depicts a kind of, it depicts Dhwaj. It depicts somebody who is going to reach the top. Now in his whole scheme of things, let us with this time I've taken, it is Libra which comes as ascendant, but let us take for a moment, let us consider his Chandra Lagna, and Chandra Lagna is Scorpio, which has Mars, and from the 11th house it has Sun, Mercury and Ketu, which is positioned, and the 10th house it has Venus and Saturn aspected by Jupiter from the 4th house, and Rahu again is there in the 5th house, because from Moon, Sun, Mercury and Ketu become, and this Rahu is in the 5th house, that is the house of emotions and understanding. This is from the Chandra Lagna, which itself shows that the horoscope, by its placement of planets from the Moon, 3 planets placed in the 11th house, 2 planets, Venus and Saturn, placed in the 10th house, aspected by Jupiter in the 4th house, and Rahu in the 5th house. It more or less summarizes the personality of the person and the way he has risen. It also shows a lot of things on the personal things broadly, which we are aware, which again I do not want to go in details. Now let us see what happens in the next 5-6 months, which are the Dasha, Antardasha, and what is the impact of transit in our system. In my scheme of things, we rotate Jupiter. So if I rotate Jupiter, it will be in the sky, a sign of Cancer, between 61 to 72 years, 12, 24, 36, 48, 24, 36, 48, 60. It is in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer, Jupiter, when in the sign of Cancer, it shows, it is the best sign for Jupiter. And here the depositor of is Moon, which is placed with Mars, and Mars is in its own house. And what is important is it is placed 1, 2, 3. It is placed from the rotating Jupiter, as I call. It is placed from the rotating Jupiter in the 5th house, and where its depositor is giving it strength. So innately in our Bhrigu Nadi system, it is strong, and it is giving a lot of power to this 12-year period. This 12-year period from 61 to 72, definitely he will be broadly in politics, he will be dealing with people, and he will be gaining as a political person, also his image of an advisor, also his image as a person who can understand things deeply, and as a person who would think out of the box. In these 12 years, these between 61 to 72, these would be the finer aspects, and they are bound to happen on his professional front. And you would, again, I would like to emphasize that in our system, where the Jupiter is the propellant of the soul for 12 years, is it in Cancer, is depositor, it is Moon, which is in Scorpio, where Mars is there, and from Moon and Mars we have Sun, Mercury and Ketu, which is placed in the 11th house and makes it very strong with Venus and Saturn in the 10th house from the depositor of the soul, propellant of the soul, Jupiter. I cannot explain all the principles of Bhrigu technique, but here for me it is very clear that this person would play a very important role from 61 to 72, where he would increase his power, his base, and would also become a kind of a person who would establish himself as a Dhwaj. This is between 61 to 72 broadly, and there would be gains for him. Now let us see what happens with the transit, because the whole system has to be the Bhrigu Nadi system, where now Jupiter is in Cancer, so that becomes his, from me it becomes the Lagna. But I'm seeing all that. However, I'm not trying to explain all that in my video here because of the constraint of time. But what happens here is that if we see where Jupiter is transiting, Jupiter would be transiting in Gemini when the elections are held. Till about June it's retrograde, and then it becomes direct. Now when Jupiter is in Gemini, it will energize its other sign, the other sign of Mercury. I mean, Jupiter at the moment is in Gemini, the other sign is Mercury. So as per my Bhrigu principles there, the other sign will get energized, and when the other sign gets energized, this is the sign of Virgo, and in the sign of Virgo is placed the planet of power, which is Sun, the planet of intelligence, the planet which works best, the best. I mean, he has an exalted Mercury, and Mercury is very good in Virgo when it comes to doing things as you require. It could be mathematics, it could be manipulation, it could be maneuvering. But here in this sign, when Mercury is exalted, it is at its best in understanding things and dealing with things. And over and above that, it is with the planet of power, which is Sun. Sun and Mercury is with Ketu. So I feel that before Jupiter transits to Cancer, where Jupiter transits to Cancer in the month of June, July, whatever the period is, before that he will be able to, will have a position where he would get authority, he would get power. For sure, I think that is going to happen. But let me also explain a issue which tickles me a little bit, and which is very important for me to see. And here what happens is, when Jupiter is in Gemini, it is 5th from the natal Jupiter. So that again is a positive thing. It is 5th from the natal Jupiter, and it is 8th from Moon and Mars, right? It is 5th from natal Jupiter, it is 8th from Moon and Mars, and Virgo has Sun and Mercury with it, but also has Ketu with it. So what happens here? Jupiter it gives him the kind of understanding of issues, it gives him the wisdom. But since Jupiter's depositor, which is Jupiter's depositor, which is the transiting Jupiter's depositor, which is Mercury, is no doubt exalted, but it is with Ketu and Surya. So Ketu is a planet which is a planet of division, which is a planet which says we have to go down deep inside to understand things. Ketu is a planet which creates a kind of anxiety. Ketu is a planet which will also which definitely here, the Sun, Mercury, Ketu, my experience says it is a planet which calls for division. So he will have to deal with some number, either division or addition. There would be some issues, and since the transiting Jupiter's since here the Mercury is exalted in its own sign, so net I would say that, and which is important, which is my prediction, is that he would be successful in putting people and aligning people. Because I say this, because here my view is that Mercury being exalted, though Ketu is there, and Ketu is ahead of Mercury in terms of degrees. Sun is at the lowest degree, then is Mercury, and Ketu is ahead of degrees. So there would be issues, and definitely a lot of thought, thinking, discussion, planning, etc. will go. But he will have to deal with division and with numbers for sure. If you look at transiting Saturn as per the Nadi system, there would be issues in his house also. I mean, at that point of time, when the elections are held, his own house, his own place, there would be some conflicts would be there. But at the end of the day, the Lord of Saturn, transiting Saturn, is Venus, and it is with Saturn in the sign of Sun. So the Saturn, which is the depositor of Venus, which is the depositor of transiting Saturn, is placed in 11th with Saturn in the house of Leo. Repeat, Venus, which is the depositor of the transiting Saturn, here is placed from its sign in 11th, and it is placed with Saturn, with its depositor Sun, which is placed in second to it. Second is always the seat of power. It is always positive from the house where it goes, and this whole combination gets energized, as I said, because Jupiter is in Gemini, and it energizes it energizes its other sign, which is of Virgo. So what I would like to say, that net this is the time when the person with this Bhrigu technique system, which I cannot, everything which I cannot actually explain it, I feel he will be gaining power, he will come in power, he will be able to do things by which he would be able to consolidate things. But yes, because of the Ketu factor being there, there would be divisions, there would be some assertions from people within the party. The division has to be dealt with, but my view is he will be able to align people because of the strength of Mercury, and rally them behind them, and be able to put himself in a firm position. But yes, it will not be an easy job, because Jupiter is in Cancer and Moon is debilitated over there, and then the transiting Jupiter is 12th from my Jupiter, which is the propellant of the soul. So there would be tensions, there would be difficulties, there would be problems, but assessment, I'm giving a lot of importance to a factor which I've repeated again. Despite all that, he should be able to make it and retain power himself. Even as per the Vimshotri Dasa is concerned, he would be in the period of Moon, Rahu, Ketu, end of Mercury, end of Moon, Rahu, Mercury, Ketu and Venus. So again, it more or less, to me, it falls into the same realm of things where he will be able to retain his power, be able to get a position, but will have to fight a lot of, जिसे कहते हैं जोड़ तोड़, and discussion, talking and aligning people. And that is my analysis for Shri Narender Modi in the coming elections by my Bhrigu technique system. And that this is only as per my limited knowledge of the science which I have, and I thought that I should share it with people on the YouTube. Of course, I will not be able to explain all the Bhrigu technique principles which I have tried to use in this, because a lot of planets transit, they change, we place planets in different houses, and then we come to the analysis of it. I have tried to only explain things which a common man who's seeing the video would understand. So both as per transit, as per my Bhrigu technique system, and as per the Vimshotri Dasha also, there are indications he will be back, but I feel he will have to fight a lot of things, including within, including outside, including mathematical jargoning which has to do, which Ketu gives. And I'm sure he'll be able to do that and come into power. Wishing him all the best. Bye. Thanks.